going into the success of Disco Elysium. How did you get onboarded onto the project?
And the winner is
Disco Elysium.
Tonight, they're taking home a total of 4 Game Awards.
Mr. Writer Man went to Mr. Artist Man and said, "Let's make a video game, we like those." That's how it began.
Show me what you got!
That's it, basically. Let's put together a pitch document. I write the words, you do the pictures, let's do it.
What was the conversation like there? What was the energy like between you two? How long did that take? What was it like, this creative spark that was in the room at that point?
It took us several weeks. It was a bit of effort. A lot of the things we sort of knew and understood immediately. We would want to make it like isometric, and that we would want to use that Baldur's Gate format, basically.
That's the best decision for sure for the game. Why specifically isometric?
Because I knew that I could paint the backgrounds. It's just a guy that's going to be walking around on a giant painting, and I can make a giant painting.
Rostov, tell me, what are your plans for the future? Are you creating another exciting video game that's going to drive you nuts but make everyone else happy?
The art, it calls to you, and then you must answer the call, and video games are the art form of the 21st century. Perhaps.
I sat down with Aleksander Rostov, the art director behind the unforgettable Disco Elysium. We talk about his journey as an artist, the early influences that shaped him, and his pursuit of creativity. We discuss the vast challenges of game development and the quiet victories that followed the success of Disco Elysium. Aleksander shares honest reflections on failure, success, and the difficult yet beautiful process of building a world like Rivershell. Disco Elysium is one of my favorite games, and it was such an honor to have an opportunity to discuss everything with Aleksander. With that said, let's uncover Aleksander's story. Rostov, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Truly a pleasure. I am such a big fan of your work, of your art, of the game, of Disco Elysium, obviously. I'm very excited to chat with you today. And as an artist myself, although not as well established and not as talented as you, it would be so interesting for me to kind of dive into this world of what art is and what drawing is, and share experiences all about that. And again, thank you for your time. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So before Disco Elysium, before your wonderful paintings, and before you came closer and closer to trying to understand like the general medium of art and what it is and what it represents, what made you fall in love with drawing?
Well, how does one fall in love? And how
That's a
does
good
one fall? Well, you see something beautiful and you must have it, of course. Yeah, I don't know. It's a childhood thing, of course. My father drew a little bit. My father generally is like a working class hero, welder or something in factories and stuff. But he drew a little bit, and as a child, oh my God, anything your dad does is amazing and impressive. So it's like, all right, I gotta draw. And then you get a couple of like tips on how to draw well, and then it kind of sticks with you, I guess. It sort of comes from childhood. Somewhere in my teens, I had this important moment where I had to decide if I will become a writer or will I become an artist. And so I flirted with that a little bit. When I was like 13, I wrote like little fantasy adventure stories because
nice.
In like post-Soviet Estonia, fantasy somehow wasn't very around, but I had read Lord of the Rings and I knew that this was it. Yeah.
Nice. At 13. Wow.
Yeah. So I wrote a little bit, but writing was easy and drawing was hard. So I decided, no, I must do the noble thing. I need to do the hard thing. And I decided to become an artist.
Man, that's really, really awesome. I obviously I can relate to that, but you know what I'm interested in? I'm sure you were the kid that was, the best at drawing in the class, probably, right? Or one of the best, right?
Yeah. I was cursed with that.
Exactly. And you know what? If I compare myself now, for example, and trying to draw today to trying to draw when I was a kiddo. Back then I was, learning and kind of experimenting with the medium. But I wasn't scared because
Mm.
although I was not really good at drawing, when I saw a picture that I would like to draw, I drew a lot of, video game characters. And, I followed what Yoji Shinkawa was doing. He was a big inspiration for me. I wasn't scared. I was like, you know what? I know that I can try to do this. And although when I look back at the pictures today, they're, really amateur pictures. But to me, back then, they were really good. And I wasn't scared to do it. And I knew that I could kind of learn and kind of go for it, although I didn't know how to. Did you have that sense as well, like of this fearlessness whilst trying to attempt to draw something, or how was it for you?
Uh, I don't know. It's like I've always had like respect, admiration, and demand for like skill and like virtuosity. So
Right.
even as a kid, I think I was like, this isn't good enough. This kind of
That's
feeling.
interesting.
Uh, s- uh, and then somewhere made a sacred vow that I must become the greatest artist to ever live, and so on. And like I really got into like drilling and like practicing. I don't know your anatomies, and these days all the rage is to draw the 250 boxes and stuff. Mm,
Right.
it was I don't know. It was always some kind of a dedication to like
Hmm.
to um, yeah, acquire the skill to do it like the old masters. Mm,
Right.
so in that sense, I don't know. Fearlessness in youth. It's like I don't know. You just suck when you're young.
Yeah, you do. But I'm
And,
afraid
well,
to suck now, Whereas
now I
back
am
then it
like
wasn't that bad.
now I am much more relaxed when I get a bad drawing. I'm like whatever. But yeah, when I was young, I kind of like whipped myself about it. When I was young, there was these art forums that sadly these days don't exist. But there was this conceptart.org or like I don't know Westbert and who else? I don't know. These like great, uh, usually from California somehow concept artists were sharing their drawings and stuff. And then like I was like looking at that and like okay, I need to draw like that. And it's like trying to really imitate how they're drawing because the art education wasn't really very available or very good. It's very sort of modernist inspired here. Um,
That's interesting.
so the internet has been sort of my education there.
Hmm. Yeah. I definitely more or less the same for me. Tell me, so did you go through like classical education, an art school, or?
And no, not really. Art school was mostly about the
Mm,
teacher came in and set up some pots and pans and you draw
yeah,
this and then the teacher went
yeah,
out to drink or something.
yeah.
But and no, my art education is going on. I forget what is the artist piracy tracker, and then you download the. Oh my god! Now I
Artist
forget that
piracy
as well.
tracker.
Yeah, yeah, where people download their
Sorry.
photoshops and Mayas from.
Like a
Uh,
torrent?
yeah, the torrent site for artists.
Like
I
yeah,
forget the name of it.
yeah,
And so people
like
upload
LimeWire or something.
yeah, people upload their like Norman workshop tutorials and these like professional industry tutorials. So you know
Uh,
you would uh, you legalize yourself an art education.
right. Oh, that's cool. And so at least the atmosphere like an art school. When you said that when they put the pots and pans and they go away, man, that threw me back to my childhood. That was the weirdest thing for me, to be honest, because they never taught me, for example, how to draw correctly. They just, like you said, they put everything in front of you. You're in a room of like 10, 15 people, and you felt so anxious because that kid over there was doing so well. And you're like, how am I supposed to shape this thing? And then
Yeah.
if you get lucky, you might get a few, words of advice. But at least that was my experience. And you just learn from each other. That's what we did. We just spoke to each other, looked at, whatever we were doing. And then we were lucky enough to share a few techniques, but the teachers were very not strict, but kind of closed-minded in that sense. But if you were to kind of go back, like to your younger self, Is there a route that you would rather take instead of the one that you took for your art, or you think that that was the right way to do it the way you did it? It was more open. It was more kind of researchy, let's say. What do you think?
I think it was good. I don't think I would change it. I think considering what was sort of available to me and so on, I did the best that I could figure out at the time.
Right.
And now, of course, I can kind of put together like an art curriculum for myself where I could like, really drill myself to have all the necessary foundational skills or whatever. And I'm now sort of, in my old age, catching up to it and doing these little exercises for myself to get good finally. Um,
Finally.
finally, it's always,
You're being too
just
hard.
just like a couple more things to learn and then I'm good finally. Mm,
Yeah, you're
but
never satisfied.
yeah, but it does give you, well, because you never learn like a single method. You never learn, this is the academic way to do it. First you do the grisaille and the dead color layers, and then you, do the color washes or whatever. Because you never learn these sorts of steps, and you never learn a method. Then it also like just leaves your mind open in a way. Um, so yeah, just. You kind of grab for any useful piece of information. You're looking at like how to
Yeah.
draw anime tutorials. You're looking at like how to paint like the old masters uh,
Yeah.
texts and stuff. You're like somewhere from the library, you find the Richard Schmidt Alla Prima book, and like you sort of hodgepodge it all together. And then after many years of like being lost in the woods with it, I guess, suddenly something clicks and you sort of start to understand what are the underlying principles underneath every
Right.
single way of doing things. And then you can really finally like see, okay, so that's what I need to look at and study, and like you really start to get this universal approach to art out of it. And I don't know
Right.
if I went
Right.
to like a really proper art school that taught me like a specific method how to do things. I don't know if I would have ever gotten there or if I would have just become like a professional concept artist.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I understand. What about your parents in all of this? How did they take your art journey at the beginning? Because usually, at least in my experience, my parents told me like, "Oh, you're going to be an artist on the street. That's not what you're supposed to do," and that just, kind of drove me out of it. Unfortunately, with a completely different concentration for my career. So what was that like for you?
Yeah. And now my parents are very supportive. Mm,
Oh man,
they
that's awesome.
tried they tried to put me into the various art schools, and then they were like concerned when I was like angry at the art schools and the teachers and stuff. And when I went to university to do them art, yeah, basically not. They've been very supportive all the way.
Hmm. Oh man, that's really awesome. I think that goes a long way. That really does go a long way because when you find that itch when you're very young and you get the right support, it really turns out to be a very pleasant journey. Although, difficulties come and go for sure, but the journey is pleasant because at least what you're doing is something that motivates you. Because, when you take a pencil or any paint or whatever, and you kind of in front of the blank piece of paper, let's say, and you know that something's there and you're kind of excited to work on it. And when that excitement kind of follows you throughout your life, I think it's such a unique and uncommon thing. But that's great that your parents did that. But how did you? Well, I know that you transitioned into oil paintings, right? That's from what I understand, what you concentrate most now. How did the transition go for you? Did you start with digitally? Did you start with pencil, or did you start with paint straight away? How was that like for you?
Um, yeah. Well, uh, first thing, of course, sketchbook and pencils and stuff, and just doodling with pencils and inks. And I think when I was very young, I wanted to draw mangas or something, so I was like trying to do the nibs and the ink stuff, and to very low standards of quality. Um, but then somewhere in my teens, I saved up a little bit of money, and I went to the only place in Tallinn that sold Wacom tablets, and I got the it's called, what is it called, Volito or something, like a really old, tiny, like postcard sized drawing tablet. It's like I think it's like the Estonian state use them to take digital signatures. They're like big enough so you can make your signature on it, basically.
Oh, interesting.
But but it was like what I could afford, so I got that, and then I started doing Photoshop
Oh,
and then
cool.
uploading them to DeviantArt, of course.
Okay. And today, what's the ratio? Like, do you prefer the canvas or do you prefer digital art more?
Mm. Right now, I'm actually looking, searching for space to set up an oil painting atelier again.
Wow, nice.
Room to go and to paint. I've been doing digital
Yeah,
for a
right.
long time, and then video games are digital and so on. So it's been
Yeah.
very computer screen focused, and it's really like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can feel my like I don't know. It's like shrinks your brain a little bit, or mind, or like it's like it pinches your like here somewhere
Yeah.
when you do too much computer screens. So I really want the room
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
like oil paintings.
That's interesting. Well, I hope it works out for you because I think, I personally, I never really drew a lot on digital medium. I prefer like a paper or canvas, but I think, coming back to it will be great for you as well. For sure, kind of a good
Hmm.
change. I think you need that, when you're an
Yeah.
artist, just to experiment with different things. That's for sure. But tell me this: how do you get into your flow state, or do you even get into your flow state? Because everyone has their own kind of, writers. They have their method of writing, right? You wrote, as you mentioned before, and artists. I mean, painters, for example, they have their own methods. Do you have a method to the madness or no?
Hmm. I wonder, flow state. Yeah, that happens, but it's like after the fact, that, oh, I was in that flow state. Mm,
Right, you realize it after. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I don't know. You sit down and one thing, headphones. Oh my
Mm,
God. I think I accidentally
tell me.
started music. Let
Oh,
me
okay, no,
pause
if
it.
I don't hear anything. It's okay. I'm just
I
pausing it.
touched the side and it started playing music. Um,
It's okay.
um, I have to. The best thing that works for me is I put on headphones, and the little squeeze that it does on the head makes it somehow easier to go into the screen, so you can start
Oh,
painting.
that's cool.
But that's like a computer thing. It's also good that if you design your space in such a way that the ceiling is low, so it
Hmm.
like really get into the screen. Digital painting is basically all about exiting the physical mortal realm and becoming the digital brush that's floating on the screen and leaves the marks. Uh,
Oh man, that's beautiful.
but it's yeah, I don't know. You just kind of gotta start doing. Usually, it's like in like half a minute or something, you will know if you're gonna get it or not. You get like this rejection, it like spits you back out, and you're like this
Yeah.
slimy rejected thing. Yeah, okay, not now, not today. And then you try another time, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. It's really great, to be able to kind of tap into kind of like the mind of various artists because everyone has their own way. I'm trying to think what was my way, even if I had a way. I don't think I ever got to the point where I realized what my way was. But did it take you a long time to figure out that that's your method, or you just don't pay attention to it really, or was it always like that with the headphones? Because I
Uh,
think the flow state is so important. I think, when you get into this state of flow, when kind of everything leaves your mind, all negative thoughts, whatever, and you're in that kind of, you're one on one with whatever you're doing, it just makes things so much more different. In
yeah.
sports, in art, whatever it is.
hmm I don't know. It's the science of the flow state. It keeps changing. The headphone trick is somewhat recent, only in the past couple of years or something. So I think I might have like just done it intuitively because you put on music or something. The thing
Yeah,
that's changed now is that I don't even put on music or anything. It's just the
right.
being cut off from the external world. Um,
That's
but
awesome.
the one thing that that's always been true for like reaching the good moment where it's possible to now just go the length of the marathon to like really paint usually takes a small success. Like you start the painting or you're working on an image and like a good face comes together or you get a good hand or like you some detail or a shape or something looks nice on the screen. And now you're like, okay, now
Yeah,
you're hooked. Now you're like, I want to
yeah,
keep
yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
this. But if you're there and you're like, you put on the brush stroke and it's not cool to put on the other one, man,
Yeah.
I don't know. The eye is drooping down. Fuck, that doesn't work. It's like it's no matter what you do, like how many headphones you have or how much coffee you drink or whatever, nothing's gonna get you in there. It's
Yeah.
the image itself that like needs to pull you in, so you really want to do it.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so relatable. 100%. That one little finger, even if the finger position came out so perfectly well,
Uh-huh.
it was great for me. By the way, drawing hands, how difficult is that, man? It took me so long to understand today I
Uh,
don't even understand how they work, all these
uh,
things. It was crazy. I remember looking at the books, of like various positions of fingers and hands. Did you like talk to me about like some of the artists that you were looking at, or maybe some of the books that you were reading to help you to guide you through this journey of body anatomy, right? That's a crazy subject to learn and
uh-huh.
to understand.
Uh, Um, I have a type of memory that is well very healthy. The healthy immune system of the mind is forgetfulness. So mm, I will. I have a very temporary memory to remember everything. So all the names of the artists who have inspired me, I will need to literally go and look up their names on like Wikipedia or
Maybe
something.
one that stands out.
Mm, but
If not, it's okay, no problem. But
I
I'm
don't
sure there've
know.
been many that came along your way.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, those old forums and stuff, those were the really big ones. Mm,
Hmm. Hmm. Any old
well,
timey ones? I don't know, like Da Vinci, for example. A lot of artists just look at kind of the progression
yeah,
of body anatomy and whatnot through those books and everything.
yeah. The Baroque guys, all of them have the cool, twisty anatomy shapes and things like that. Mm,
Yeah.
I wonder though. Uh, a long time ago, there was this artist called whose forum username was Langbog. His name is something like Donchi something. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. He makes comics now. Um, but he was I think when I was like 15, he was 17, and he was already drawing like the old masters.
Oh
So
wow.
he really like
Cool.
inspired me to get a sketchbook and really grind it out. And he had also like these anatomy studies that I just started copying off of him because they were there and
Hmm.
they were solid and I could just copy them. He also, from him, actually, I learned a lot about sketchbook keeping from him as well because he was also scribbling little notes for himself, doing like self critiques. Like, this
Oh,
shoulder is
cool.
too
Yeah.
out, or like this muscle, connects actually here and da da da. So I started doing that, and then also sketchbook decoration, like little, I don't know, floating text boxes, and draw fun things and compose your page, like do little graphic
Right.
design shapes and things like that. So I took a lot from
That's awesome.
Tonchi the lung bug. I wish I remembered his name.
Nice. That's cool. Well, at least that's already great. I mean, we obviously look up to somebody, right, in the beginning of our journeys. But let's change the subject just a little bit and get closer a little bit towards Disco Elysium. Now, prior to the success of Disco Elysium, from what I understand, and I might be completely wrong, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, not everything kind of went your way. And I'm not talking about you individually. I'm talking about the Zaum collective, right? The people around you with whom you were working together. And I would like to actually bring up a quote here. I have it written down by you. And you said, "The glow of victory is a false comfort. And even personally, for us, failure has stalked us for a long time." I found that's very, very interesting. This quote is really cool. Now, can you elaborate a little bit on that and about the importance of failure and how that kind of shaped you, or did it even shape you?
Mm, indeed, failure. Uh,
Big subject.
big subject. Um, well, um, well, we were this gang of loser artists, sort of rejected and dejected by the world, trying to do this and that, and always failing at things. Uh, mm, got into a couple of national fiascos.
Really?
There was this episode where we took over the national culture newspaper for one issue, and then we had to
Really? Oh,
then we had to drop it because everybody said no.
wow. Wait, can you just dive a little deeper? What's the story about with the newspaper? What do you mean you took over?
I don't know how good I'm at telling that story in its proper depth and length with all the juicy details. Well, basically, there's an Estonian national cultural newspaper that does reviews and says what's up and publishes little texts, and it's this little thing that gets published, and then mostly it feels old ladies buy it and feel connected to Estonian culture or
Right.
something.
Right.
And then it had a thing where, because it's national, it's like leadership. But you see, it's like a public position. You apply for it, and the previous one was leaving, and nobody applied for it, which is a bit
Okay.
of a shame in itself that no one would want to do it. So we sort of stepped up for it.
Right.
But well, some of the people involved had notorious reputations, which maybe foreshadowed some future misery as well. But anyway, we gave it a good shot. We were like, all right, we will revitalize this cultural newspaper thing. We will introduce a golden age to Estonian culture. We will bring in youthful energy and so on. But then instead what we got was national protests where artists and well-respected figures of culture taped up their mouths because they perceived us as some sort of a censorship force.
Oh my.
Well, so that's one failure that we suffered through.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Well, you know what? I mean, the failures can only make you stronger. The most important thing in the failures is to not be depressed or demotivated, because that can probably affect you more than the sheer amount of failures, because from them you can learn. But if you get to a point where you're depressed or where you're kind of there's no more motivation to do anything else, that's when it becomes very difficult. And obviously, I'm not sure if you personally, but I know that people from the team have went through certain levels of depression, but thankfully you managed to all pull through. Talking about kind of going into the success of Disco Elysium, can you tell me, how did you get onboarded to that project? Because I know that I believe Kaur Kendar, that's the name, if I'm saying it correctly, had like a role in that for you, right? He from an interview I heard that he kind of came into your home or something, and he said, "My friend, we failed at so many things. Let us fail at making a video game together." How did that go? Like, how did you get onboarded onto the project?
And no, that wasn't Kaur, that was Robert.
That was Robert. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Robert, the writing man.
Robert, yeah, Kruvitz.
Yeah. Well, this video game thing was one of the ways that we intended to recover from the fiasco of the newspaper.
Right.
But Mr. Writer Man went to Mr. Artist Man and said, "Okay, let's make a video game." That's how it began.
That's it.
That's it,
Easy.
basically. Let's put together a pitch document. I write the words, you do the pictures. Let's do it. That's what we did.
Guys, that's so awesome, man. That, you know what? Like, I wish I was like a fly on the wall at that point. Look, okay, take me to that, because it wasn't like a 10-minute conversation, right? You were when he approached you, when he said this, "Hey, let's make a video game. You draw it, I write it," and you kind of created this, let's say, mini pitch of what it's going to look like and what it's going to read like. What was the conversation like there? What was the energy like between you two? How long did that take? Was it like a overnight kind of thing? Did you sleep on it, or What was it like? This creative
Mm.
like spark that was in the room at that point.
Um, I wonder how to convey that in words. I wonder if I even quite remember it anymore very well. It took us
If you
several weeks,
can.
though. It took us several
Hmm.
weeks. It was like
Hmm.
it was a bit of effort.
For
Mm,
sure, yeah. It's not like you know, you're not gonna take it easy.
yeah, yeah. Mm,
Like, did you understand what you're getting yourself into? How hectic the world of game development is, and stuff like that. Did you have that understanding?
Not really. No, it was just
Not
like
really, yeah.
let's make a video game.
Let's
You
go.
we like those.
Dude, that is so
Mm,
awesome. I think that's how, true, amazing, creative video games are born. Let's just all of a sudden do it all together.
mhm. Mm, well, I guess we kind of a lot of the things we sort of knew and understood immediately how we would want it to be, and that we would
Hmm.
want to make it like isometric, and that we would want to use that like Baldur's Gate format basically of
Yeah.
and even in
Sorry,
the big.
sorry to interrupt you. Could I just ask you why specifically isometric? That's the best decision for sure for the game. I love the fact that it's isometric. But how did you straight away figure out that it's not a first-person game, it's not the third-person game, but specifically isometric? What made you realize that?
Because I knew that I could paint the backgrounds.
Ah, okay, got it, got it, got it. That's
Before we
interesting.
knew the technical details of how we do it, just intuitive, you understand. It's just a guy that's going to be walking around on a giant painting, and I can make a giant
Hmm.
painting.
We're gonna get to the technical parts.
Mm.
That's for sure. Okay, cool. So you straight away realize that that's kind of the world you want to live, base the game in. Whoa.
Because like an isometric RPG is very simple. All that really happens there, it's like there's these guys that are on the map, and you are like a little um, pinball
Yeah.
ball ball of pinball, just bouncing between all of the guys, and you just open up
Hmm.
the dialogues, and that's how you go through it. Mm, Combat has always been like that's just I don't know a little puzzle game or some kind of an entertainment thing on the side, but the true grit of role playing games is bouncing from one dialogue to another, so it takes you through this story and this character.
Wow, that's awesome. So, okay, since you mentioned the technical difficulties, I don't want to diverge, you know, too much from that because I think that's a very important subject. So, here, correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, from what I understand, these are huge. Like the play area where where the player actually walks and plays. Those are literal huge paintings created by you.
And basically, yes, there's like
And
some.
just tell me how it all works.
mm, Well, there's some pre-rendered 3D stuff underneath it. So that sort of serves as, I don't know, like an underpainting, I guess. But we also get technical stuff out of it for like shadow maps, height maps, things like that.
Right.
Good for the
Right.
rendering process so that the character can walk behind the wall and be occluded.
Yeah.
Um, but then on top of just this white box render is the painting. Uh, and that's
It's
basically
incredible.
That's the basic structure. But yeah, it takes a team to do that. There's like other people involved in that as
Yeah,
well.
for sure. So if I'm correct, understanding this correctly, so there's a flat plane. On the flat plane is, I would assume, I don't know, maybe 4K or whatever, uh, painting that you have drawn, and on top of that sits like a basic 3D model of the houses and the buildings without any
No,
detail. No, okay.
no. So
So how are the
it is.
shadows working? And
Mhm. It's basically magic. The
yeah,
all the 3D stuff has been rendered out into like technical render passes
uh huh,
for like for instance height map, which the color of
yeah.
this pixel tells you how high this point in space is from the ground. Um,
Wow,
and you also have normal maps which tell you world space normal maps which tell you which way this
which
surface
direction the
is
light? Yeah.
is looking at. um, You have pre-rendered shadow maps for morning, noon, and evening lights, which then gets like multiplied on top of the painting, which is sort of like an overcast day, I guess. And then
My God.
combining all of these together through the wizardry of like pixel math, you can kind of figure out that if the camera is here and the height map says that this pixel is here and the character stands here, that it would be not visible for the
Wow.
camera.
Wow. That's incredible. That's so incredible. Truly, such a fascinating piece of work. Well, talk to me about texturing then, because those are hand painted textures that we're talking about, right? That you place on top of the UV maps. No, sorry. Yeah, the UV map, right?
So it's basically you open up this white box render of the world in Photoshop, and then you just start
Right.
painting over it.
Oh,
So you
wow.
almost have like so you almost have like this black and white or like this only light kind of version of the world, and then you like paint over it. But the world is massive, and Photoshop and computer memory can only hold so many pixels in memory at one time.
Yeah.
So they're rendered out in like these tiles.
Right.
And then every location is just like one tile next to another. So you sort of
That's
like
so cool.
load them into Photoshop. You make these like massive files out of them where you have these tiles next to each other.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
paint over them and you export out of them. But then also this like massive file is about the harbor area, and this other one is about the roundabout where the traffic jam is, and there's an edge in
Right.
between. So now you need to figure out how do you handle the edge between the two things. So there becomes this hierarchy where one painting is considered to be underneath the other painting for the purposes of the edges. So the entire world is this like
Wow.
patchwork of
It's just
paintings that
layers
sort
on
of
layers.
go on top of each other.
I think I sent you into a rabbit hole of difficult memories of sleepless nights of trying to figure that out back in the day. Wow, that's crazy. And the same applies also to like 3D objects, right? So if we take, I don't know, clothing, for example, right? It's brush strokes on top of the 3D model, right?
Yeah, so those are actual 3D models in the game in real-time 3D.
Yeah.
But we did try to do this crazy thing where well, at first we hand painted the normal maps because we wanted the 3D models to sit on the background painting sort of, seamlessly so that they feel that they're made out of the same substance. But that was very cumbersome. I managed to twist my mind into like doing it. And it's like, but you're like trying to paint folds, which is already incredibly like difficult and complex thing to do in your mind. And now you're also trying to paint them in colors that tell you which way the surfaces are looking. And
That's incredible.
so that's not you can't really scale that up industrially. So in the end, we had to do a different kind of way.
Got it. Well, in any case, I mean, that's what brought the unique look to the game. Like the first time I caught a snippet of Disco Elysium, I don't remember what social media it was, but it was during like those doom scroll nights. And I just was doom scrolling or like into like I was in a rabbit hole on YouTube or something, and all of a sudden, like an image of Disco Elysium appeared, like a quick trailer or something, and I just kind of was like, wait a second, and I went back to it, and it just like it was a showstopper. Just that one little split second that I saw it, for me was a sign that this is something interesting to look into. And then obviously I checked it out. I looked at the trailer, and was definitely very, very surprised. And obviously the game is just absolutely wonderful and funny and crazy, and I don't know, all sorts of things. Okay, so you're the art director for the game. You were the art director for the game. I mean, obviously, drawing and painting and creating the characters is one of the things that the art director does. But for those who don't know, for me as well, what other responsibilities are handled by the art director that perhaps are not that obvious to everyone else?
What didn't I do? Uh, Well, the team was small, so really had to do a lot. Well, a big thing that I also did was the UI design. So the menus
Oh, okay.
and things like that. Really figuring out how the thought cabinet should work and
Oh, that was
yeah.
that was a crazy thing for you guys. I saw in an interview with Robert Kurvitz that was an absolute like nightmare to understand, right?
If you had to describe the thought cabinet, what would your kind of elevator pitch be?
A quagmire feature, a feature you during development are beginning to suspect is going to take down the entire video game studio. That would be my pitch to it. The pitch, of course, it's fantastic. What if you had an inventory for thoughts? That alone is reason enough to try and chase it for 4 years and get it to something.
Yeah. It's like there's well, there was like I don't know tens and tens and tens of mock-ups for the different ways that like how the slots could even how they could work, but also how they're like visually laid out. Silly ideas about like diagonal arrangements. I don't know, lots of
Oh my
stupid
god.
things. Uh, uh, yeah. Well, user interface. What else did I do?
Yeah. Well, you did a lot of promotion
I
as
made
well, right? You were traveling everywhere.
Yeah. I went to the various cons and events where you have to
Yeah.
show the game off to the fans. I got to do a little
Yeah.
circus show there where I had my Wacom, some kind of I forget the name. Anyways, a computer you can paint on that's like portable. So I could uh, unplug the TV from playing the trailer on endless loop and hooked up my computer and just like painting some characters or something to really catch the eye of the passerby.
Awesome, man. Oh wow.
Uh, that's fun. It's enjoyable. Some artists I know are like very like they don't like people looking over their shoulder. But I'm an exhibitionist. I guess I really like showing off. I like to see how other artists paint as well. Half the
Right.
enjoyment is like the process itself. The final image is just like some ejecta. I don't know, that's whatever.
Yeah.
It's the process that's really interesting.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
So yeah, I did some promotional stuff. I
I
did
understand you're wearing many
cutscenes.
hats, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a
Cutscenes.
few that were there, right?
Yeah, those are really, oh my God. So when we started, Unity still didn't have like a timeline editor. So all the cutscenes are scripted, where it's literally
Oh
character
wow.
name, walk to, name of walk marker, wait 0.6 seconds to do
No way.
in individual RTC dialog card. And then you have to export from RTC. That takes like 90 seconds. Import and compile into Unity. That takes like a minute. Now you can finally see the cutscene that you're like, now have to load in and go click through the dialogue so you can get the cutscene that you were just editing. So like
Jeez.
4 minutes or something after you like submitted the work that you're trying to see, you're saying, it's not supposed to be 0.6 seconds. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
0.5 seconds.
Oh no. Oh man, dude. That just gives me shivers right now. Oof. That's crazy. Oh, so yeah, one mistake is going to cost you another 5 minutes. My God.
Yeah. That was very painful.
Okay, so basically, I understand that all of you wore many hats. So at the end, you were what, like 30 people, right?
That's the kind of number that we gravitate around. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, for game development or for serious game development, that's a very small team for sure. But can I ask, what was the most, or let's say the happiest you've been while developing the game, and what was the saddest or the angriest you've been while developing the game? Like, what was the best and the worst parts of it?
I wonder. Well, one of the happiest moments surely was when I got my Cintiq in the very beginning, when like the first money was
Uh,
like had come over,
yeah.
and we're like, all right, we're a real video game studio now. We have money, and then got myself a Cintiq so I could like draw on the screens. Like it's
Oh,
just.
nice.
Uh, And that's a long way from the tiny Intuos Bolito or whatever that I started with from. Also, just like in the depths of it, sort of in the middle of it, when the core team was already together and sort of comfortable everybody was comfortable with each other, and it's just like you show up to work and you just like, get to hang out with these wonderful people and make the thing. We had a lot of musicians on the team somehow, which brought their like instruments over. So we had these like jam sessions of just like
Dude,
chilling
awesome.
out, playing like the guitar and some playing the violin and stuff, and just
That's so cool, man.
those are some very warm memories for me.
No, for sure, I can imagine. I mean, being in a creative, atmosphere like that for creatives, I think is just so it's vital, because like I consider myself in a way like a creative person, and when I connect to another person who's kind of in the same state of mind, everything around me just becomes so clear and so good, and I'm like, this is my person. We can communicate on the same wavelength, And when there's many of them, I believe it's just a truly great experience. Speaking of music, I read, I think where was this, in an interview or in a podcast you did? You talked about the crazy story of getting the band to actually onboarding the band, so to speak, right? Where Robert flew out there and to the UK in like in a bear suit or something like that. Could you just repeat that story for me in a bit more detail? How did he manage to get the band is called British? Gosh, I forgot. I'm sorry, the name of the brand, but
yeah, back then they were called British Sea Power. Now they are simply Sea
yeah,
Power.
British Sea Power. Yeah, yeah. Because now on YouTube I was searching for it's just Sea Power. Yeah, okay.
Well, we were fans of their music. It's just something that we had on when we were young, angry bohemians. They make some banger tracks, and then when it was time to get music for the game, and we were considering the options, they were sort of there because they have well, it's already in the name that Sea Power. They have this like their music has this how do you even describe it? This longing or something. This like looking out onto
Right.
the horizon is somehow
Yeah.
it's always a little bit there. So it's
Yeah.
very appropriate for the game, which is also takes place on a coast. But yeah, Robert just like wrote to them and was like went to visit them. And they have usually it's one of the band members who like wears the polar bear outfit and like dances or something on the stage. And then I guess to test Robert's character and to measure his worth and if he's really serious, they put it to him that are you do you will you embarrass yourself in a polar bear suit to get this?
Oh my
And
God, that's incredible.
and
But
he did.
and he did. Dude, that's what these stories. I think just how can I even put it? I mean, they're supposed to be a part of the story of Disco Elysium. It shouldn't be a normal phone call. It shouldn't be a normal like, oh hey, listen, we like you, sign this contract. It should be something like that. I think that's what the game represents at the end of the day, right? It's just crazy improvisation. It's great that they agreed. Did they like the game? Did you like when you were telling them the concept of the game? Did they fully understand what the whole thing is about, or?
Well, Robert can speak about that, I guess, at more detail because he was really there doing the talking. But yeah,
Okay.
from what I understand, yeah, because we had the pitch document and we had the paintings and so on. So it was already like, the pitch document is already has full of attitude and the paintings are like full of attitude. So it's not like you're showing up to do
Yeah.
like, some military shooter or whatever. You're like, these are like,
Yeah.
we put our best, what's the expression? Best foot, best face, whatever, something best of us forward.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I forgot the expression myself. All right. That's cool, man. Wow. That's so incredible. And again, obviously the music fits just so perfectly well. I was just actually listening to the soundtrack before coming on to speak with you. It's really, really, really fascinating and perfectly fits Martinet and the whole Disco Elysium world. Oh man, a part of me, there's those games where you're like, I wish I could forget that I played this game so that I can replay it again.
Mhm.
It's just one of those games, guys. And honestly, a big thank you, by the way, to you and to the whole collective that did it, because it's just such a standout piece. It's a little gem that is just a great work of art for sure. But so okay, it was a great success, right? In a way, you could say that you've won. And I want to quote you again here from the Geeks interview that you did. And you're saying that, quote, I think winning is terribly boring. There's nothing left to do after you win, only the mild depression of knowing that you did it. And by virtue of doing it, it is now done and gone. Talk to me about that attitude, like how does this attitude working for you? What's your mindset after actually the full-on success of what Disco Elysium became?
Um, well, really, I just wanted to get on with the sequel. It's like, okay, that's done. Uh,
On to
never
the
want to
next.
look at, never want to look at that again. Just like go, go, go for the next thing. Well, unfortunately, bad things happen to that. Mm,
Hmm.
but well, in general, there's always like, well, when the thing is done, you of course want to rest, but then you rest and then life gets boring. So it just like stuff starts just like dripping out of the sleeve or something. It's just impossible not to do things, make things. Uh, so there's always something pulling you forward. Sometimes I wish there would be a little bit less, so there would be more time to rest. But
Hmm.
no, we must always keep moving.
Must go on. Tell me this: did you play the game yourself after it
Well,
came out?
um, no, not after.
No.
But I do have several thousands of hours logged on
Well,
Steam.
yeah, for sure. So you haven't played it after it came out from A to Z, right? You just played it whilst you were developing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And I really thought that I was gonna, but then something really
Yeah,
does happen. Some kind of a block, some
that's so
kind of a wall
interesting.
gets like in between you. I've given it a couple of good tries where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to like, I will role play, not as Harry, but I will role play as some guy who has never played Disco Elysium, and it's somehow impossible. You can't.
That's
And
so
also,
interesting.
it's just like every single bug, everything. It's just like immediately you go into like I need to start logging bugs and problems to fix, and it's
Oh
like
my
it's not
god.
possible. You just can't.
That's such an interesting thing for me, because like obviously the player hasn't gone through this whole mess of creating this game. We are experiencing the art in its pure form. You've went through the whole thing. Tell me this, during the development, were there points where you thought like, oh man, this is just too much, like it's not going to work anymore? Or was the energy always there to continue?
Uh,
Because you know the story, you know the characters, you know the music, you know the whole thing, how it's going to look like. You're building it. And I think sometimes it might get boring to you and you might
uh,
doubt yourself, perhaps. You're like, you know what? No. Does that happen?
Well, there were people on the team who sort of had that, who I don't know, just had like doubts or whatever, or fears, or
Right.
were worried maybe or something. But I never had that. The moment we had like a
Okay.
guy walking around in an environment, you could click and like a dialogue window popped up, and like these are
Yeah.
the characters, and this is what the dialogue is going to be. Like I just knew it in my heart that this is going to be like easy peasy, mega success. It's
Nice.
like people are gonna like love it. Mm. I also had the privilege of peddling the game at the various Gamescoms and South by Southwest and
Yeah.
things like that. I think South by Southwest was the first time that we showed it to the public, and I just like saw the reaction of people who like sat down to play it. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no room to doubt after that. You just see them like get absorbed into it. Like, yeah, this is
Dude.
gonna rock.
Man, that's like, I can imagine that moment. Look, I'm sorry that I'm diving into all these things. It's just that I believe these stories and these emotions are so interesting, at least for me. So, talk to me about this uh, time where you presented the game to the players and when you saw their reaction. I mean, you must have been so nervous prior to that, I would imagine. And then when you, but also you were proud, I think, of what you were making. Like you were anxious for the fact that people have to see it, so that when people saw it, and you got the reaction you were looking for, and then some. How did that work out for you? What was what was going on in your head? How did you feel?
Mm. Well, it feels great.
Yeah.
It really does. You see people loving the thing that you're making. It's wonderful. Mm. It's like I don't know how to what is the proper poetic way to express this sense. Mm. Yeah, I don't know. Words are failing me right now. But it was
Like a
interesting to note.
relief?
Not a relief. Well, I knew that the
No?
work is great. They're gonna love it. It's like, nah, there was never any doubt or anything. I just saw that, yes, I am correct. They love it.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but but it is great. And you see them laughing at the correct. You also know where you're supposed to laugh. And you're seeing,
Yeah.
yes, they're laughing at the correct moments. There you go. The writers have done good work. And then
Oh my
they're like,
God.
mm, um, you also kind of notice who likes the game the most.
Hmm.
Immediately we saw that the main audience that really got hooked at that South by Southwest was middle-aged men and teenage girls.
Really? Teenage girls.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
Those were the demographics that sat at the longest and really tried to some of them just try to play again to see the different archetypes, how the game changes and so on.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Dude, that's so interesting actually. Did you have that in mind before? Did you know
No,
that or
that was a
no?
well, yeah, that was a surprise. I guess the regular boy will want to run around and shoot at stuff. So,
Well,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Call of Duty stuff. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
mm. But yeah, that was cute. One of the sweetest things that I've ever heard was this really quite young girl with her mom was there, and after playing for 45 minutes or something, got up and said,
Wow.
okay, mom, no more Fortnite."
Really? That's a great compliment. Oh my God. Dude, that's so awesome. But did you do any concept testing or play testing before presenting the game?
Uh,
I
Not
mean, with
really.
others, so not within the crew, within the group.
No, not really. Uh,
Oh wow. Okay, that's
we,
interesting.
we just sort of started making it and we made it.
Okay, because I mean, the usual course of action from what I hear is, you know, there's playtesting going on, and playtesters tell their opinions, and you see what works and what doesn't work. But so you were doing it internally, just kind of seeing
Yeah,
if
basically.
if this
Yeah,
works and that works.
yeah.
Oh
Just
wow.
trying to see the flow of it all and so.
Was there like a lot of bugs when the game just came out?
Mm, well, there were some that we did sort of really focus in at the last stretch to clean up as many of the big bugs as possible. Though there was this funny thing just when we hit the big release button. Um, Somehow it had happened that I think we had a logo video or something, some video in the beginning opening was in some kind of a file format that the Macs or something couldn't play. So it just, I don't know, we didn't have a Mac to test it on or something somehow. Or we added the video at the last moment to the build so it wouldn't waste our time every time we wanted to play test it or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, the moment we released immediately, half the computers doesn't work. So
Oh my God. Oh man, that's a disaster.
so that
Jeez.
was the first
Okay.
hotfix, was to get that sorted to, I don't know, re-encode
Got
the
it.
video in some codec that was more universal to other computers.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Wow. But then again, you re-released the game, the final cut with the voice actors. Were you involved with that process as well?
Yeah, a little bit. Uh, yeah, that was, well, Final Cut was mostly about doing the voiceovers, full
Yeah.
voiceovers for the characters. But then also we added the visual quest and stuff. So there was some new areas, new area designs
Yeah,
that I got to do, and some stuff like that.
got it.
Uh,
That's cool. I must imagine, like, seeing Disco Elysium being voiced was like a game changing thing. Because especially with the voices that you had, I unfortunately am blanking on the narrator's name, but his voice, man, wow, it's
Linval Brown, yeah.
yeah, limo, exactly. Oh my god,
Uh,
that was insane. Talk to me about this. After the such an immense success, with the game, with Disco Elysium, do you feel currently like freedom or more pressure for your creative work? If you understand kind of what I mean.
mm. I don't know if it really touches on that sort of plane or on that
Hmm.
dimension. It does feel safe. It feels that now I exist. One of the things
Right,
with an
right, right.
artist is that you don't exist. You are just like, mm, mm, how do I say this?
Just existing in the
You're like,
endlessness.
you sort of, exist in the minds of others. You are, well, you are an entertainer and you need to entertain the world and you need to entertain the people. Mm, if you're just a guy uploading stuff to DeviantArt, sure, there's some people that see your work or something. But once you make a Disco Elysium, then there's a little bit more people that know that you exist, and that's like a thing of safety for an artist,
Right.
because an artist dies in obscurity. Um,
Mm.
but if you exist, then maybe you don't die in obscurity.
Right,
I don't
right.
know.
No, it makes perfect sense. Makes
Does it?
perfect sense. Well, yeah, to me, I understand. I kind of understand what you're talking about. At least now there's, in a way, not a meaning to your work, but people find meaning in your work. More people find meaning in your work, and maybe that is what makes you a bit happier. Probably.
Hmm. Well, I have a wonderful thing. I have earned the respect of strangers.
Yeah, I would imagine that. Yeah, yeah. And gain a following for sure, but generally, yeah, big success. But in terms of like marketing the game and keeping like being lean and whatnot, was because you were self-published, right? At the end of the day.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Was that a difficult thing, or it was, or again, for you, not having a publisher was not that big of an obstacle?
Hmm. Well, at one point we kind of did have a publisher, but that was
Humble, no?
yeah, but that was a bit
Mm-hmm.
unsatisfying, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I think in the end, well, we had good people doing our publishing in house and so on, Mick, Mick Metzneat and so on, but and then Danny, making sure that we exist on the surface of the internet, but then the real publishing marketing push, I guess, was the video game awards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, when you guys got the awards, yeah.
Uh,
Wow, there's such an incredible story. Again, without a publisher, without anything, doing it all in house, all yourself, no playtesters, no nothing. Wow, Rostov, tell me, what are your plans for the future? Are you perhaps looking into creating another yet exciting video game that's going to drive you nuts but make everyone else happy?
hmm, perhaps.
Aha, that's good.
Uh, well, video games are nice. Wish making them was a little bit nicer, but the art, it calls to you, and then you must answer the call and you must make the art. Video games are the art form of the 21st century, as we like to say. Um, and it's Hmm. It's hard not to make video games, I guess.
Right. For me, it's hard not to play them. That's for sure. Well, look, I'm very, happy to hear that, that uh, mindset of creating a video game still persists in you. That's probably the most important thing. Um, is there anything you can share? Like, are you working on something currently, or is it just, uh, uh, you know, a project that you're gonna have in the future? Is there something concrete yet, or not yet?
Uh, I think here I would have to make a coy face and say, oh, this and that, and I don't know. I don't know about such things. Who knows? I'm just a painter. I'm just trying to make some paintings and pictures.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really awesome, man. That's really awesome. But you're a gamer, right? Yourself.
I sometimes press the buttons to make a
Some.
character go this or that way.
what are what are some of your games that you're playing lately? Some things that
Uh,
really caught your attention. Some of the latest releases, within the last 5 years, perhaps.
uh, well, I had the big game for me this winter was well, I will say Morrowind, but actually more like Mod
Hmm.
Organizer.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, because you were modding it. Okay.
Yeah. Um, it's like this. It's this wonderful thing where you're just scrolling through Nexus and like you almost become this game designer where like you're like taking these component parts and you're assembling this like perfect game for yourself.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Right.
and then well, that takes hours and hours and hours of like pure bliss, real, true, pure flow state. So much so that actually to play the game, I only like put a couple of hours in.
That's crazy. That's cool.
But my mod pack is like 800 strong.
Okay. That's a lot of mods. My goodness. Okay. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Any other ones?
I played Kingdom Come Deliverance, but the first one because I wanted to be a good boy. Uh,
Right.
play the entire story or so just before the second one came out. But then I don't know, life and stuff got in the way, and I only played that as well for a couple of hours. I find it
Yeah.
hard to kind of
For
like
that
sit
game's the
down
same
and
for me.
really go long at the game. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it is an incredible game with an incredible story of how it was made as well. Actually, super, um,
mm,
very talented individuals. But yeah, that's definitely a fantastic game for sure.
yeah. What I really appreciate in it is this um, time travel museum quality.
Hmm.
Just walking around these environments and seeing
Yeah.
a realistic representation of the industrial base of the medieval age is something
Right.
that I
Right.
appreciated it.
Yeah, for sure. And not only you. Um, I don't know if you played this game, but I want to suggest one game for you. But
Mm.
it comes with a fair warning. If you do play it, I think the world is divided into two people: ones that fall in love with it, ones that completely don't like it. And if you do fall in love with it, then you know everything, or your social life, your work, and everything is at risk. So I'm warning
Mhm.
you.
Okay.
Kenshi,
Kenshi.
a game
Oh my
called
god, I love
Kenshi.
Kenshi. I love
Oh, you
Kenshi.
played it, dude. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy that you know this game. That's amazing. What
Mhm.
a freaking game. My God.
That is
Like
amazing.
that for me, probably from the past 5 years, is the only game that really stood out in terms of, I mean, in that genre, right?
Mm. It's a little bit like Morrowind in this that you're the stranger
Yeah.
in a strange land. That's really the aspect that I enjoy in both of those games.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kenshi is just oh my god, wonderful. Just these like long treks over this like
Yeah.
hostile and bewildering landscape. My favorite
Oh, man.
gameplay mechanic in Kenshi is the camera control because you can
Right.
because you can do a little bit like in Lord of the Rings when they're like running over the mountains and stuff, and you get this like
Yeah. Yeah.
helicopter
Huge.
shots.
Yeah.
So to do the same in Kenshi, just like click on this town that you want to go, and now your guys are going, and now the rest of the
Yeah.
way you're just like moving the camera here. Yeah, nice composition.
Yeah.
Move the camera there. Nice composition.
Yeah. I actually found myself taking quite a lot of pictures during those, long commutes. But it's crazy when I try to tell my friends like what Kenshi is, and I show them the gameplay, and they're like, "What you're telling me? You're gonna walk from one point to another point for like 20 minutes?" I'm like, "That's the whole point. That's what you gotta do." Isn't that interesting? It's a really like a really niche game, and not a lot of people understand it. I'm so happy that you played it. You know, the second one is well, they just released the marketing material for the second
Yeah.
one,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah, I
I'm so
watched them.
excited
Oh
for
my
that.
God, they're like so sweet. They just seem like the sweetest
Yeah,
people. I'm so happy they're doing it.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think they deserve all the credit and all the love that goes their way. And again, I can't imagine how difficult it must be to completely change the engine and whatnot. But definitely, Kenshi is one of the games I'm looking forward to play. Rostov, just as a final thoughts for our conversation here. First of all, wonderful conversation, and thank you so very much. Any words of advice for future game developers, current game developers, indie game developers, artists? Any wisdom you would like to share, and let the people know kind of which roads to take and which roads not to take in game development?
Hey, yeah, yeah. Wisdom, indeed. Mm.
It's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Mm. Make it good. I don't know. I don't know. No, there's gotta be something better than that. I don't know. Dedicate yourself to it. I don't know. No, that's like toxic advice now, I think. Take it easy. Take it chill. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Well, here's the trick that got me through the hardest bits. Tell yourself that the thing that you're trying to do that is very difficult, tell yourself that it is easy peasy.
Ah, okay. Got it. Tell it to yourself. All right. Yeah, understand. Well, I mean, I think now is the age or the time for indie developers. That's for sure. I mean, look at Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Look at yourselves. Look at Kenshi. Look at many others. Um, Again, if you have the creative idea and the urge to do it, whatever comes from you as a creative that who is not forced and pushed by all these corporate companies to kind of concentrate on the money, at the end of the day, your creative baby will come out to be something very unique and beautiful. So that's what you did, and I think that's what everybody should probably follow and do. But Rostov, thank you so very much for this conversation. I had so much fun talking to you, so much fun trying to uncover all these intricate stories of one of my favorite games, 100% of all time, really, that I played. Disco Elysium is at the top. And thank you for sharing those stories. Thank you for the insights, and for your time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's it's fun to talk about art and games.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
it was a pleasure. Thank you.